Peace. Hold on. Turn around. Peace on this blessed Friday to my family and friends, and for those I don't know. I don't have much time to talk. I wanted to share a story that is part of the microcosm to the macrocosm. What I mean, there was something happened to me yesterday while I was on the boardwalk. I was sitting down, relaxing, and some small white lady came to me and asked me for some money. I gave a couple of dollars by God's grace, but I noticed by her aura and demeanor, her puffy hands and so forth and so on, I saw that she was addicted to heroin or opiates. And we had a nice conversation because I started delving into it and I started sharing my story with her as well. We had a heart-to-heart conversation. I actually walked a piece of the boardwalk with her, and we caught a vibe. And I asked her, what pivotal moment in your life caused you to start getting high off of opiates and heroin? Or opiates? And she told me, right, that her kids was taken and she became homeless and so forth and so on. And I reflected back on my pivotal moment that made me veer off the right path and take to the streets and landed me in prison for a very long time. So everybody's problem, it's like I always said, is a judge-free zone. Everybody's issue has a backstory. That's a fact. You see. So we caught a vibe. And then there was another occasion, maybe a couple months ago, while I was at the train station, a young white lady came to me to ask to use my phone. I said to her, you can't use my phone, but I'll make the phone call for you. I said, I wish I had some cash on me. All I have is my card on me right now, because I will help you to the best of my ability. But I made the phone call for her, and she's very thankful. And we started talking. I said, you look like a pretty woman, but you're missing your teeth and you smell like urine. But like, what's going on with you? She's from Camden County. And she told me she was addicted to Trink on KA, on Kensington Ave in Philly. That's where she was addicted to, getting her stuff from there, which is 10 times worse than here. And we talked, and I told her that even though we got problems in life, because we might have some vices or addictions or shortcomings, doesn't mean we give up on life altogether. I said, still get in the shower, still wear clean clothes, still go to programs, still have a connection with your family, still try to work, still be functional. We got to be functional, I'm saying, within our shortcomings, functional within our addictions, not totally giving up. And I asked her, what was the backstory? What was the pivotal moments in your life that induced you or caused you to start getting high? She told me she was raped. You see. So everybody got something going on. So we can mesh it all together with mental health and addiction and shortcomings. It's all interconnected, right? Everybody going through something. A lot of us, most of us are going, matter of fact, I would say all of us, but most of us are going through something. And a lot of us have shortcomings and vices. But many of us have the ability to be functional, which is, I applaud us for that, until we overcome our shortcomings. But never judge somebody. Don't look at people, I'm saying, don't judge people because we sin different. But don't judge people. I can't judge people because I got shortcomings that I can put shade on. You see, we're not doing that, right? Because you can be a quiet alcoholic on the sneak, but you got your house, you got your car note, you got your car and your house and you stable. So I'm not judging nobody. I mean, that's the small examples, right? What is that saying though? So we see a lot of the influx of a lot of white folk, many of them women, that are walking in Atlantic City like zombies. It's spooky. Very spooky. When I was home before, this is one of the things that I noticed. This would never happen. This wasn't the case. I'm not on here to point fingers. I'm just saying what it is. Because sometimes you can't immediately change a thing or help a thing. I don't know. God knows best. I'm just here to say that I can't help but see a bunch of zombies on Atlantic Avenue and Pacific Avenue in a boardwalk walking all over the place, ain't even from there. Who are they? Where did you come from? Right? Majority of them white. So it's just so different, so many different angles we can come on that. You know, when heroin and crack was basically dropped in the urban cities and the black cities to destroy us, it was criminalized. What I mean criminalized? So if you caught us with crack, they would blast us with all this time. We're animals, we're criminals. Give them hella time. So many kingpin charges and so many years that was given out. People died in prison. You see, so when the black community was riddled, right, and destroyed by drugs and liquor stores and guns and violence, it was criminalized. Give them time. They built prisons. Prisons popped up like popcorn. You see. Now that the heroin addiction, the opiate addiction, has riddled the rural areas, has riddled the suburbs, has riddled white America, now it's a disease. So instead of prisons popping up, you got rehabs popping up. When I was locked up, you had a line called the, what did they take? Suboxone. Suboxone. The line was crazy. Every morning, now all of a sudden, white America and your white sons is locked up, your white nephews is locked up in prison because they can't stop getting high. Now, oh, it's a disease. It's been a disease. It's a disease now. To the point, they pass out free drugs in the prisons. It's drugs. It's not weaning nobody off of it. They getting high off of it. They selling it. Suboxone. Every morning in the prison system, they pass out Suboxone. That's a known fact. And a majority of that line is Caucasian. But then, of course, the brothers and the brown brothers are going to get on the bandwagon, those that get high. Right? So we see how, again, like I told y'all before, the passivity, how passive they are, how talented they are with each other. I'm not saying this from a racial standpoint. I'm not a racist. I'm just saying what the reality is. We were strung out, lock us away and put us away forever, if they could. But now they strung out. Oh, build the rehabs and bring the doctors and he's been through so much. Yeah, true. We've been through so much too. Huh? So now, did you think God, Allah was going to allow the government and whoever else to drop all these drugs back in the day in the black communities? You see the movie The Godfather, The Godfather, what did they say? What did the mob say? We don't like the drugs, but if we dealing drugs, give it to the niggas. They like animals anyway. That's the line he says. And they meant that. And the government and CIA feel the same way. You see the Rick Ross case? It's clear. It's not by coincidence that Rick Ross, I ain't talking about the fat CO cop Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross, by the way. When the real Rick Ross, it wasn't by coincidence that he bumped into a connect that gave him tons of cocaine, that which he turned to tons of crack, and he put in the inner cities all across the country back in the day. That was by coincidence. We find out that same CIA agent that was his clavo, that was his plug, was tied into what? The Iran-Contra scandal. So the CIA was selling tons of drugs all across the world to finance the war with Iran, the Iraq-Iran war, right? This is serious. This ain't no game. And many of our peoples have been strung out, OD'd and died and so forth and so on. You see, this is all interconnected. And I'm not here to judge nobody, but I had to speak on these things. because it's weird, but it's, you know, mental health and the history and the, I'm saying, and the drug addiction. And now they got a new thing called out Trink now, which is 10 times worse. It's not even heroin no more. You got Trink mixed with fentanyl. Trink is used for animals to sedate the animal before he has Trink is like anesthesia for the animals before operation. Yeah. And fentanyl is an opiate. It's not even heroin anymore. People are dying. One love. Peace.